Hello everyone! Just getting set up here. Let me know if the audio is good or if it sounds a bit funky. It's very hot here today, so I have a fan going in the back, so sorry about that. But I can adjust the volume levels, so hopefully it's not too annoying. So yeah, today I'm going to be doing a lot of reading practice. I have my Hunter x Hunter number 5 that I'm going to read. I've started reading this maybe 4 times, but I haven't finished it. So today I want to actually read it start to finish, hopefully. We'll see how far I get. So yeah, hopefully people can hear me. Hello, hello. Awesome. Okay, cool. It's very interesting live streaming because I can see what you guys can see, and it's like maybe 30 seconds behind, so I kind of have to wait for what I say to be heard by you guys. But awesome, we got some people. Cool. So, morning. Where are you guys all coming from today? I have watched the anime, yes. I watched all the episodes up to like the Sky Tree. So now I want to actually read the books. So yeah, it's been good so far. Like I read up until... This is the only one I've read so far. I just bought the 5th one. I didn't start from the first one. And so far it's been good. But I keep just forgetting to finish it. So today I want to try and finish it. Aw, thank you, Hacks. You're so nice. I love the little sticker that you send with it. It's really cute. California, awesome. Okay, so I think Germany, London. Oh wow, we've got a whole international crowd today. That's so cool. Philippines, Puerto Rico, another person from Germany. Wow, this is so cool. Okay, so I think we will jump in and get started. Ohio, awesome. I think we'll jump in and get started. I'm basically gonna do like Pomodoro-ish 20 minutes of studying and then take breaks to just chat and answer any questions that you guys have. Turkey, awesome. Okay, cool. So I will start the timer. You can grab whatever it is that you're studying, get some work done, and then we can do some chitty chat. I have just like Jisho on my screen just to look up any words that I don't know. If you want, I can display this so you can actually see it on screen if you're curious what I'm Googling, but I don't think it will be that interesting, so I don't have it up right now, but I can change that if you guys want it. So yeah, let's get started. Ooh, good question. So if there's a kanji that I don't know, luckily this book has furigana, so it will have the spelling in hiragana written out, so then I can Google that. So that will help me. Okay, that is the first little 20-minute work session. If you have any questions, I can answer them on this little break. And also let me know what you guys are working on today. Let's see what you guys have been talking about. I'm working on Wanikani and some Anki, cool. People are watching some anime, nice. What were you guys watching? Do an exam on September 1st, good luck. Is that for, are you taking like Japanese at university or in class in high school or something like that? Doing the tango deck, nice. Yeah, the giant ads are not ideal, but my JLPT level. I would, like, I've never taken the JLPT formally, so I don't actually know, but I've taken practice JLPT N5 and N4 tests and passed them, but, like, we'll see. I want to take the N3 in December, hopefully, but I don't know if I will be able to just because I have to go to another town to do it, so I just don't know if I can make the trip, but... do you know any good sites to read manga in Japanese for free? Yes. If you check out Bookwalker, Bookwalker has a section of the site where they have free manga. So it's kind of like Kindle or Kobo, but for Japanese manga. And most of the stuff is paid, but there's a section dedicated to just free stuff, so you can check that out. Studying Japanese at university and planning to go to Japan with a scholarship. Oh, that'd be so cool. Very cool. Have you heard of the refold method used to be MIA? Yes, I have. I was using that. That was definitely something that I was using as reference when I first started learning Japanese. I haven't really looked at the refold method that much just because it came out after I was pretty comfortable with my regular routine for Japanese, but I'm assuming it's a lot of the same stuff since it's the same person. But yeah, like I for the most part agree with the MIA refold like philosophy of like doing a lot of immersion and using Anki to build up your vocabulary, but I just find the website a bit hard. Like, I did look at refold once, but I just found it very wordy and kind of hard to... Like, it wasn't very accessible. It was just, like, a very big time commitment to read through all of it, so I just didn't, but... Some people are doing Anki reviews. Second day in a row that I opened Anki to get some work done, but ended up leaving it aside and watching the Olympics instead. Nice. What's your favorite event to watch in the Olympics? The reading and listening can be tough on the N2. Yeah, I bet. I've heard that the jump from N3 to N2 is really big, so I don't see myself taking that anytime soon. But hopefully the jump from N4 to N3 isn't too bad. Am I following the games? Not really. Not really. Mostly just because I don't have a TV right now, so I could, but I don't know. Usually I do, but this year I haven't really been. Oh wow, we have 30 people watching right now. That's so cool. That's like, blows my mind that so many people are on here. All I know about the Olympics so far is that they used video game music in the opening ceremony. That's hilarious. I wonder what game it was. That's very funny. Okay, so I think we will do watching judo. Nice. Any advice for speaking exercises? So I'd say when you're very first starting out and haven't done anything yet, it can be useful to just like read out loud whatever it is you're reading. So if you're reading a book, you could read the book out loud. If you're going through a textbook, you could read the sentences in there and just practice like the sounds and being comfortable talking, even if you don't really know what you're saying, just practicing the pronunciation. You can also use like, if you, like for the Genki textbooks, they have an audio track of a lot of the exercises where they'll read it out loud, so you could kind of shadow. But I'd say the best way to do it is to practice with someone, just because you'll just be a lot more engaged and they'll be able to correct you if you're making any common mistakes. But I can get that it's really, I get that it's, like, I put it off for a really long time just because I was too shy to do it, but if you're doing it, especially if you're doing it with like a tutor, they're not going to judge you. Like, they know that you're just learning and that's what they're there for. They're there to help you get better. But it can be, I understand feeling overwhelmed to do that, but. Andrew wants to take the N4 in December. Awesome. And no, I haven't been to Japan before. I would like to go soon, hopefully, but. Recommended some grading readed material. So I'm pretty sure I did. I have in the description of this live stream, I linked 2 videos that I've done about reading, and in those I give some recommendations of beginner reading material. But basically, the Link You stories are good when you're first starting reading, but I wouldn't stick with them for too long just because it's not very natural language and it just kind of gets boring really fast. And then I'd also recommend Satori Reader. The Shirokuma Cafe books are pretty good for beginners. You can also just like Google graded reading material for Japanese, and I remember finding a lot of just random PDFs online and just trying to read them. But yeah. If I try to translate Japanese light novel, would it be helpful? Depends what your goals are. Like, I know some people who really want to be translators, they'll do that as practice. Like, they'll translate whatever it is they're reading into English as practice to get better at that. But if you're just generally trying to learn the language, I don't think you really need to translate. You can just read it and see if you understand it and look up words that you don't know. But I don't know. I remember in French immersion we used to do that. They'd ask us to like translate a like children's book into English to make sure we knew what was happening. But I think that was more just so the teacher knew that we understood what was happening. But if you yourself know that you understand it, you don't have to like go and write it down in English unless you want to. But I think I will start the timer again, another 20 minutes. And yeah, we'll keep going. Right now I'm on page 20, and it's like the very last, sorry if this is spoilers if you haven't watched Hunter x Hunter, but it's the very last stage of the Hunter exam, and Illumi just like revealed himself to Killua, and he's like mad at Killua and is like, I'm gonna kill Gon. They have an interesting relationship, those brothers. Okay. Cool. Okay. It's round 2. I made it to page 37. If you have any questions, I'll answer them during the break. For anyone who's new, we're like doing just like a study with me stream, so I'm reading a Japanese book and everyone else is working on their own studies, just keeping each other company. Oh cool, some people are playing video games in Japanese. That's a really good way to, a really fun way to study. Because then you're like doing something you already want to do. We've just been nerding out as we study. Nice. And someone asked if I do these every day or just every once in a while. I'm thinking I'll try to do them at least once every 2 weeks, but I might do them more often if people are interested. I just haven't decided yet. I don't think I can really do weekdays just because I know a lot of people are international, so I feel like this time is the best for everyone. But if I did it during the weekdays, I'd have to do it in the evenings, which would be like the middle of the night for a lot of people. So, I don't know. Yeah, making progress with the book. I'm on page 37, I think. And it's going good so far. Like, it helps because I've already seen the show, so I know what is I already know what the plot is. And a lot of the words that they use I already know from the show, so it's been good. But the font is so small, like, I don't know if I can show you, if you can see how small everything is. So I'm just like squinting to be able to see it, but it's good. Oh, sorry, I forgot that the dictionary page was still on screen, so you couldn't really see very well. Yeah, so Gwen said that she's in an international study group, so they only meet on weekends. Yeah. It's hard to get a time that works for everyone. But I'm thinking I might do, like some people were talking about playing video games in Japanese. I've been playing Stardew in Japanese a lot. So maybe I'll do, I might stream that during the weekdays in the evening. And then people could watch them afterwards just to like follow along with the Japanese. So I think for that I would probably like read the game out loud while I'm doing it and also like explain the translations. Like I'd kind of do like right now I'm just doing my own thing, but for the video game playthrough I'd probably yeah, video game stream. Yeah, so I think I'll do that soon. I just need to, well, I'm now more used to using the streaming software, so I think that could be fun. Because then, like, I found that I've been procrastinating my Japanese studies a lot by watching people, like by watching Let's Plays in English. But I figured if I do a Let's Play in Japanese, then you guys can procrastinate studying Japanese by watching me procrastinate, or by watching me play Japanese. I don't know. There's a great channel called Game Gengo that's all about learning Japanese through video games. Oh, that's super cool. I'll have to check that out. Very cool. Very, very cool. Because it's just like, learning a language takes so much time, and so it's great to find things that you'd like to do anyways in the language that you're studying. Because then it doesn't feel like a chore, you know. But yeah, I'll start the 20-minute countdown again. How long have we been doing this for? What time is it? 12 o'clock now, 1 hour in. Okay, I don't think I'll finish the book in the stream, but I'm happy with the progress I'm making so far. I'm like that far in. But cool. Yeah, watching videos about Japanese is not learning Japanese. I relate with that. I love to procrastinate by watching not actually Japanese content. The English term nurse. Yeah, it's for any kind of person. It's not, yeah. It's not gender specific. I'm so impressed by all the people who are watching me who are learning Japanese and also English isn't their first language. Like, they're like, it's very impressive. I'm very, very impressive. Awesome, there's another round done. What are you guys all talking about in here? Do you guys have any recommendations for more shows that I could watch? More anime shows that I could watch? I need a new series to start watching. So I see you guys are talking about One Piece. I watched the first episode of One Piece and I liked it, but there's just so many episodes. I don't know if I want to commit to that. Just so many episodes. Oh my gosh. The Japanese used in One Piece confuses even the Japanese people. That's funny. Dun, dun, dun. Jujutsu Kaisen. I have not seen that. I have not seen that, so maybe I should check that out. That's the guy with the pink spiky hair, right? My knowledge of anime is not very, very big. I just started watching anime last year, like when I started learning Japanese. So the only shows I've watched so far have been like in Japanese, me trying to learn Japanese as I'm watching them. Diamond No Ace is about baseball and it's one of my favorites. Okay, cool. Yeah, I watched Haiku and I really liked it. So baseball. Watch baseball. Dr. Stone. Demon Slayer. Cool. Yeah, I just need to commit to a new show. I keep saying that I'll start a new show, but it just seems daunting. Okay. Yeah, Haikyuu is really good. Very good show. And I liked how, like, because it was like a show that takes place at a school, like the language was pretty easy. Toradora, yeah. I watched it and it was one of the earlier shows that I watched in Japanese and I had no idea what was going on. I was watching it without subtitles, without anything, like just Japanese, and just trying to follow along, and I was so confused. But it was good. From what I understood. I had to like keep going onto like Wikipedia to like see what the plot was so I could understand what was happening. Okay, I think I'm gonna do one more 20-minute session and then just finish up chatting and then that'll be the stream. I'm going to oh, maybe it was Clannad that I watched. I think I tried both of them and I only watched one of them entirely. Maybe it was Clannad that I watched and I was confused. I watched the one that had the girl who like died but didn't die and was like a ghost. That was the one that I watched, and I did not understand a lot of the Japanese, so I was just like very confused with the plot. But cool. Okay, so I think this will be our last 20-minute study session. So you can finish up finish up whatever it is that you're working on. Hopefully you got a lot of work done today. And yeah. If you have any questions for me, put them in the chat and I'll answer them at the end of the stream before we finish up. And yeah. that was the last little study block, but I'll answer any questions that you have before we finish up. Let me see. Bum, 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 bum. How did you learn a lot of your vocabulary? So I started learning vocabulary from the Genki textbooks. So every chapter has like around 70 words, I'd say, of vocabulary words that I learned using Memrise. I wouldn't Memrise is fine when you're first starting, but I wouldn't stick with it long term just because I think Anki's better. But yeah, I learned all the vocabulary in the Genki textbooks, and then I transitioned to using the Tango N5 deck, and I also used the Tango N4 deck a little bit. And also with doing Wanikani, they teach vocabulary in there. But now I'm at a point where I feel like I know enough vocabulary to just like read things and look things up as I go along. But yeah, so now I think I'm gonna stop doing focused vocabulary study and just do immersion things, because like doing flashcards isn't the most fun thing, and reading is a lot more fun for me. So yeah, that's how I learned a lot of my vocabulary, because I wanted to start reading even earlier than I did, but I found I just didn't know enough words, and it was just super frustrating because I had to look up 3 or 4 words per sentence to know what was going on. So I really focused on doing that Tango N5 deck and the Tango N4 deck, and then after that I found reading to be a lot easier to do. Hi, Ernie. I can't study in silence. It distracts me. Really interesting. Yeah, a lot of people have different study techniques. I find for reading, I need silence. If I'm doing something that's doesn't need as much of my attention, then I can listen to music. But I find I always get distracted by the lyrics, and then I'm just like singing along and not focusing on whatever I'm doing. Anyone know if there are books with only hiragana and katakana to practice reading? I don't know about full books, but I know that there's a lot of beginner, like, short stories that are written like that for beginners. But off the top of my head, I cannot think of any. But you would have to look for specifically materials made for Japanese learners, because usually even children's books, toddler books for Japanese kids still have kanji in them. Also, if you use Satori Reader, and I think Link does this as well, I can't quite remember, but I know with Satori Reader you can toggle how much kanji you want, so you could have it full hiragana and katakana instead of having kanji in it. Did I start to learn Japanese from scratch? Yeah, I learned Japanese from scratch starting last year. I had a friend who was Japanese growing up, but they never spoke Japanese when I was around. And I also did karate when I was like 8, and we learned how to count to 10, but that was the extent of my Japanese knowledge before starting learning last year. Yeah. Lyrics are tricky when you know what they mean. Yeah. I found when I first started learning Japanese, I could listen to Japanese music while I was studying, because I didn't know the lyric, I couldn't understand the words yet at all, so it just sounded to me almost like what's it called, instrumental. Like, it was the equivalent to instrumental for me when I first started, because I couldn't understand the words. But now I understand enough words that listening to Japanese music is distracting. But if you're not at that point yet, that's a good thing that you can listen to. Did you finish both decks before you started reading? No, I finished the Tango N5 deck completely, but I only got through maybe half of the Tango N4 deck before I started reading. And when I was going through the Genki textbooks, they have a lot of reading passages in them, so I was reading from the beginning, but I didn't start reading like actual books or actual like long passages until I had finished the N5 Tango deck. Are you studying the vocab you look up later? No. I think, like, so a lot of people will, when they are reading immersion materials, if they come across a word that they don't know, they'll look it up and then they'll write it down and put it into Anki or something like that. It's definitely a really good thing to do, but I am lazy and I don't do that. I just hope that it sticks and hope that I'm reading enough that the words that I come across just stick in my head. But if you're being a very good, diligent student, you should write down the words that you don't know and put them into Anki, but I don't do that. Or focus more on exposure. Yeah. So I am, especially since I'm just learning Japanese for fun, like I don't have any hard set goals that, like it's not like I'm trying to go to school in Japan or work in Japan or anything like that. I'm just studying for fun. So I'm focusing my studies now just on exposure and on immersion and just like enjoying using the language, instead of doing focused flashcards and stuff. I did at the beginning to build up my knowledge so that I could do immersion materials, but now that I can do immersion, I have been doing less and less flashcards just because I don't find them very fun. Like I just forget to do them a lot. But if you are trying to learn in like a very structured way and like trying to do it as fast as you can, I definitely do recommend it. I just don't like doing it, so I don't do it. Yeah, Ernie, I'm pretty sure Link has a toggle feature. Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure if you look on like the top bar where all the buttons are, there's a way to make it all hiragana and katakana. Did you do RTK? No, I tried it. So I started with Wanikani, and I was doing it for a while, and then I figured I'd try out RTK just to see which one I preferred. And I didn't like RTK because the main problem is I just didn't write my own mnemonics, which is what really helps me with Wanikani. But with RTK, either you can find mnemonics online and like use those, or you can write your own. And I was just too lazy to do either of those, so I just found it was really hard for me to remember the kanji with RTK, remembering the kanji, because I wasn't willing to do that extra step to figure out the mnemonics. So I just use Wanikani because it spoon feeds me those mnemonics. And I also liked that Wanikani teaches you how to pronounce the words. That was just something that I also liked about it. Yeah, manga with furigana. Like the book I'm reading right now, Hunter x Hunter, it has furigana, so you don't have to look at the kanji if you don't want to. I'll see if I can show you. I'll take down the Jisho so you can see. So if you can see up here, it has the kanji, but then also the furigana right next to it. So if you find resources like that, that can also be really helpful. Like I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering correctly, This is Kiki's delivery service, and it does not have furigana, so it's a lot more frustrating when you come across words that you don't know, because if you don't have the furigana, it's a lot harder to Google what it means. Usually I will use my iPad, and I will then like draw out the kanji so I can look up what it means, but yeah. Dun 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 dun. I also recommend watching the anime prior and go through the motions of reading. It helps with speed and getting used to the act of reading. That's a good tip. I'm getting soon my first Japanese tattoo. Oh, cool. What are you gonna get as a tattoo? It's me, Candace. Hi, Candace. Yeah, if you want to learn Japanese, I definitely recommend just like jumping in and trying it out. It definitely takes a while to build up the discipline, and I feel like lately I've been slipping on that. But if you want to do it, like just try it and start small. Don't feel like you have to do everything all at once. Like just do like 10 minutes a day, and as you go on, you can add more time to it if you're liking it, or you can change what you're doing. But don't feel like you have to have everything perfectly laid out. I feel like when I first wanted to learn Japanese, I wasted a lot of time just like watching YouTube videos about how to learn Japanese, and like looking out for like the best way to do it and the best resources. But if you want to do it, just jump in. You can figure it out as you go along. I'm so impatient to start immersion, but I'm only halfway through Genki 1 and my vocab is still baby level. Yeah, I feel that. You can still start immersion now if you want to. Like, you won't understand a lot of things, but like that's okay as long as you're enjoying it. Like, I think I started watching I think I watched Haiku while I was going through the Genki textbook, so I had watched a couple episodes in English first, and then I was watching them in Japanese, and I didn't really understand a lot of the words. It took me a long time to even be able to like catch when people's names were being said, but I think even if you don't understand what's going on, it's really beneficial to be listening to things in Japanese and just get used to the sounds, and like eventually you'll start to pick out the things that you're learning. Ernie said, when I'm reading Italian, I don't look up every word if I can understand what's going on. Same. Like you would have seen how many words I was looking up. I definitely had a lot more words that I didn't understand that I just wasn't looking up because I could understand what the sentence said, so I didn't feel the need to look up the words. I only look up words if I am completely lost and have no idea what the word could be, but if I have a general idea, I won't look it up. How often do you read a day? Not as often as I'd like. I was doing Satori Reader every day. I would read 2 articles, and then that was like my baseline, and if I want to do anything else, that would be a bonus, but I've definitely slipped up on that. Have you played any games in Japanese? Yeah, I started playing Stardew Valley in Japanese, and I've been liking that, and I was saying that I might do a stream of me playing that, and then I could like read out loud all the parts and like try to translate it in real time. Okay, we got some people speaking Italian in the chat. Very cool, very cool. I cannot speak Italian. Disciplined FX, hello, hello. Yeah, I try not to, I mean, before my study style was kind of all over the place, which you would see in my videos, but now that I've gotten over that first hump and can just try to understand things, I have been enjoying that a lot. My goals for studying this month, I would really like to finally finish this book because this is Hunter x Hunter, the fifth one, and I've started reading it like 3 or 4 times, and then I just keep forgetting to read it. So I'd like to finish this. I got to page 50 or 60 today, out of just under 200, out of 180. So I think I can definitely finish this month if I remember to. How about you guys? What are your goals for the month? I get sad not being able to communicate with my Japanese friends, so I want to get better at studying. That motivates me. That's really great motivation. That's really cool that you have friends that speak Japanese. That'd be super fun. That'd be super, super fun. When did you start to understand half of the content that you were consuming? That's a good question. I would say, like, I first tried, I was doing immersion from almost the beginning, but didn't really understand anything that was going on. I was more just doing it to train my listening skills. But then I really wanted to start reading, and I found that I could read the passages in the Genki textbook, but when I tried something like NHK Easy News, it was too hard for me. And so that's when I decided to really buckle down and do the Tango N5 deck and did part of the Tango N4 deck. And after I did those, I found my reading ability got a lot better and I could understand what was going on. And then with watching things or listening to things is a bit different, because with reading, if you don't understand something, you can just Google it. But if you're watching something or listening to something, if you miss it, it just keeps going. So I don't know, that one's harder to say. I would say more recently, like in the past, maybe like 3 months ago or 4 months ago is when I could understand half of what I was listening to. But also, it depends on what I'm listening to. So if I'm listening to a podcast that's for Japanese learners, I can pretty much understand all of that. But if I'm listening to something that's for native speakers, I definitely understand a lot less because they're speaking faster and they're using more complex language. Jane, within weeks of watching your video, I finished my first manga and I felt so good. Oh, that's so awesome. Congratulations, Jane. What manga did you read? That is really awesome. Yeah, like, I feel like with Japanese, it can be a lot harder to get into immersion because the writing system is just a huge barrier to get through. Like, if you're learning something like French or Spanish or something like that, you can pretty much start reading right away if you want to. It'll just be slow, but with Japanese, you can't really read anything until you know kanji, and so it's just like a whole extra hurdle that you have to jump. But once you get through that, you can start reading, and it's a lot more fun than doing drills, at least for me. Sometimes it's really frustrating how much time I waste. Yeah, it can be hard. It can be hard to stay on top of things and balance learning Japanese with just like your life in general. But it helps if you just like don't put too much pressure on yourself. Especially if you're learning it for fun, like check in with yourself and make sure that you're still having fun, and if you're not, try and change something. Are you planning to use any intermediate textbooks like Tobira or Catet? I'm undecided. I would if I felt it was necessary to take the JLPT, but I wouldn't do it just for fun. Like, I have Shinkansen grammar for the N3 that I haven't started yet. It's just like a drill book to prepare you to take the N3. So I'm going to do that eventually, and depending on how I feel after that, I might pick up another textbook. But I don't love learning grammar from textbooks. I'd rather just hear something a lot of times and then figure out what it means. But I also heard that Tobira has a lot of really great reading passages and reading exercises and listening exercises in it. So I might get it for that. But yeah, I think I will wrap up the study stream now. We've been at it for 2 hours. It was a good study stream. I hope you guys got some work done, or at least had a good time chatting. And yeah, was reading Hunter x Hunter number 5 today. I got about a third of the way through it, which is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. And yeah, let me know. I'm not sure if I want to like upload this or just yeah, I'm not sure if like YouTube will automatically upload my live streams to the channel, but I'm not sure if I want to have all these streams like clogging up people's feeds, but let me know what you think about that. Especially if I start doing these more often, I probably will stop uploading them after the fact. A horror manga, oh that's cool. I'll have to check that out, that sounds cool. When are you speaking again, Olivia? We'll see. I might start speaking more in future videos in Japanese. And then if I do that, the Stardew Valley thing, I'll speak Japanese in that. Late to the party, so don't know if already answered, but how would you, with the benefit of hindsight, start studying new? My first advice, if you're just starting out, is to just start. Don't get hung up on figuring out what the best way is or the best resources. Just start, and you can figure it out as you go along. First thing you want to do is learn hiragana and katakana. You don't need to have it like perfected. Like I would really recommend just taking like an afternoon and just learn them either and like understand how to use a kana chart, because once you can read the kana chart and you understand how to look it up if you forget a word or if you forget a character, then you're set to start doing other things, because there's no point in just drilling hiragana and katakana for weeks until it's perfected before you start other things, because when you start the other things, they're going to be written in hiragana and katakana, so you can practice it as you're learning, if that makes sense. So just like take a day or two to learn hiragana and katakana, and then start whatever else you want to do, and just look up what you don't know as you go along. You don't have to have it perfected. I hope you have a good day as well, Mabel. Deadshot got everything knocked out that he wanted to do. Awesome. Is Japanese hard, or is it just the first impression that scares a beginner? Yeah, like, all languages are... I wouldn't say any language is hard, because, you know, everyone who speaks that language can speak it, and they learned it when they're really young. It's just about time in. It's not really about difficulty. The thing with Japanese and why it's known as like a hard language is just because there's that extra barrier of learning kanji. But I wouldn't say that learning kanji is hard. It's just really time consuming and not the most exciting. So a lot of people will quit just because they get bored of it. I've gone back and replayed the other stream a bunch. It helps me focus on my Wanikani reviews and lessons. Okay, so then maybe I'll leave it. I'll leave this up then. Thank you for your input. Cool. Awesome. Well, I think we'll end this now. Thank you so much for joining. It was lovely to chat with you all. and I will see you soon. Bye.